Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this, again, another amazing Scrum Facilitators Meetup. And today we have, yay, Stuart, yay, all of it. Today we have an amazing guest. It's Tieko. And before we dig into to the content, let me just share my screen with you and tell you a little about the Scrum Facilitators and who we are and what we do. Yeah. So today we will be talking about enhancing the implementation of self-managing teams, which is actually based on a thesis that Tieko has performed. And if we talk about Scrum Facilitators, well, as Scrum Facilitators, we are a bunch of individuals who love to collaborate together, who love to create content, and who love to provide Scrum courses and Agile courses. And together we can provide all the Scrum.org. We are licensed to provide all the Scrum.org courses, and we're situated in the Netherlands and in the UK as of recently, which Andy and Steve are amazing to professional Scrum trainers from the UK and also accredited Kanban trainers as well. And before we go any further, we'd love you to join one of our courses. That would be very fun. And also we have this Slack community of Scrum Facilitators. We have around 300 or 400 members now, and it's a Slack community where you can ask, you can get help and anything else that you want. So you can actually scan the QR code, and I will also put a direct invitation link in the chat as well. All right, enough commercials. I want to introduce Tieko to you because Tieko is a friend of a relative of mine, and she knows I'm in the Agile business, in the Scrum business, and she said, well, Zirian, can a friend of mine contact you? Because she's now doing a thesis on self-managing teams. And if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken, you are into self-managing teams as well. So yeah, all right, we need more research on self-management and self-organization. So very nice. And I'm happy that Tieko is sharing her story with us. Tieko, you can take it over, and we will try to make it as interactive as possible with the two of us.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, my name is Tieko. I just graduated from Global Project and Change Management, and yeah, now I'm going to share what I did, like my research that I did. Let me share my screen. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Can you all see it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Good. So I did my thesis about improving the implementation of self-managing teams. It started off with an organization. It's called Stichting Ontmoeting, and they basically asked me to help out with what they're doing. So to introduce you to self-managing teams, because I will use the word quite often, here's the definition of a self-managing team. It's a permanent group of employees who together are responsible for the entire process in which products or services are created, which are delivered to an internal or external consumer. The team plans and monitors the progress of their processes, solves daily problems, and improves processes and working methods without constantly relying on a leader or support services. Based on a previously determined common goal, the team determines how they will achieve this. So I went on and dived into this topic for them. And first of all, I asked, like, you need to know, why would you implement self-managing team? Because the organization that I was doing research for, they transferred from a like a traditional form of management, like hierarchical, I can't pronounce the word, but like top down, basically, and to be more to to communicate better with their clients and provide things more to their needs, they decided to transition to self-managing teams. So in this case, you can also see here on the side, like reasons why, in general, organizations transition to self-management to improve team processes, to increase productivity, but also to create this shared goal and vision within the whole organization and not only in the top management layer. So the organization came in with the problem. So how do we keep our team members motivated? Because they had been going on with this transition for about 2 years before I came in, and the transition was not really going well. As they tried to transition, the top management like that was there at the time, the person who came up with the idea to transition, he left the organization, and so they still continued on transitioning. Then within the teams, not everyone was like up for being a work in a self-managing team. So some just were like, why do I have to do these extra tasks? Like, I just wanted to come here to facilitate the clients, this and this. So therefore there was a lot of frustration on both sides, and management wanted to know, how do we get the members motivated? How do we keep them engaged? Like, how can they actually become self-managing? Because they really believed it was the right approach in their organization. And from the teams, like at that time, the bottom layer, it was like, how can we cope with all these extra tasks? Like, does this all fit in our hours, etc. So from there, I came to this research question that you can see here. Like, I researched from the team's perspective. I thought that would be the best approach in self-management. Like, how can the teams become self-managing and develop task-relevant maturity? Task-relevant maturity refers to the team members being able to perform their tasks within their team, accordingly to the vision and within the new self-managing approach. So if they were already, what this team particularly did, they worked with clients to help them get back on their feet. So for example, young women who are like single parents and like figuring out how to do their finances, how to find a house, get work, all these things. So they were more focused on that. And next to that, they also needed to be able, in the self-managing thing, to be able to make budgets for them, like team budgets, like how do we manage our money, and how do we take ownership of our own location, as the organization is split up in different cities. So based on that, on their question, I dived into literature, which you can see here on the side. It's the phases of self-organizing teams. You can see here on the people-oriented axis how the team, like, it's more focused, okay, how does the team progress as together? Like, are they able to communicate with each other, all these things, work from there. And then the task-oriented axis on the bottom, like, how do the people move regarding their task? Are they able to just manage one thing at a time, or can they manage their task as a whole with all the clients and their internal and external network? So from there on, I came to the conclusion, okay, these are the problem that the organization is facing based on the information I got from the team members, the manager, and also the coach in the self-managing teams, And then I also took the literature, which was the table that you just saw, and the vision of the organization, because what they wanted was for the teams to be able to carry or take care of their location. So bring everything together, I came up with these steps. which we will go through. These are 6 steps in total and a bonus step, which is, yeah, I will elaborate on it a little bit later. So the first step was for this organization to guarantee every team with a team coach. For example, one team that I interviewed, they had an assigned team coach in the beginning of the process, but then this team coach was not really into self-management actually, and therefore not very motivated, did not help the team as much as they should have. So then it transitioned to a different team coach. They got a different team coach, and this team coach unfortunately fell ill, and because of that the team didn't have a team coach for like I think up to 7 months. And in these 7 months the team was still expected to go through the phases and become self-managing. But of course, if you only have the manager approaching a team, like these are the tasks that you have to do, like can you do this, or can you do that, or how is it going with the task, and no one asking, the coach not being there to ask about the well-being of the team, like how is each individual progressing and how is also the team progressing as a whole. Because they didn't have that, it was very, very difficult to go anywhere, and it's just led to a lot of frustration and the team being stranded in this. So here, yeah, we have a question for you all to like to make sure you're still here, but also to freshen up the mind. This is the first question. I think Zerion will introduce it to you all.
That's what one of the things that we want to do is basically this research has been performed from a non-Scrum perspective in a healthcare environment. And during this meetup, we want to check, okay, so what are the learnings in a healthcare environment and how does it apply to Scrum, and how does it apply to professional Scrum environments? So the first question that we have is actually, if you look at the perspective from a team coach and what Tieko just mentioned, what a team coach is responsible for and how important a team coach is, what are the differences between a team coach and a Scrum Master? I want you to have a discussion with each other. I will make some breakout rooms for you and have you discuss about it in, let's say, 4 minutes. And when we come back, I want you to put the main takeaways of your discussions in the chat so that everyone can read, and I will ask some of you to elaborate on it. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, very nice, very nice. Let me see. It will be 4 minutes with a 30-second warning, so don't leave immediately. I'll add a room because Tieko needs to. All right. Everybody ready? Yes. 3,
Yes.
2, 1. See you. Okay, so welcome back, everybody. Feel free to share your findings, your major findings in the chat. And let me just ask some of you if you want to share the outcome of your discussions, like Stuart.
Yeah, pick on someone, why don't you?
Sure, no problem, Stuart.
that always works.
No, I mean, when we kind of had quite a good consensus in our team. Obviously, a Scrum Master is focused on Scrum primarily. That's what they're there for. They're an integral part of the team, and they have a role within the team in order to deliver whatever they're delivering during, via Scrum or using Scrum. Yeah. Team coach has potentially a different remit, although there is potential overlaps as well. But a team coach is focused on anything that that can help improve the team, or that the team wants help improving from, we're improving on, and also that, you know, if you're looking at professional coaching, there should become some kind of agreement or contract between the team coach and the team as well in what they're going to achieve and do.
Nice, cool, nice. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for having the courage to be the first one to share. I will now pick on someone else. Paulina, can you share your major findings in the discussions that you had? Yeah, I'm not sure if we can't hear you. So for the sake of time, at least, thank you. Let's continue, because Tieko has a lot more steps to share.
Yes. So to the second step, oh, I'm not connected to the, yes. The second step, in this organization, it was improving communication was a big one, because if earlier you already heard that there was quite some frustration because of the expectations someone might have had, or the outlook on having a coach and not having a coach where you're working towards. So improving communication within the team is the foundation, because the team was first working in a hierarchical context. So it's more like the teams, if there's something was up, they would talk to the team leader, and then the team leader would talk with the whole team or the people that in that situation that needed some counseling or anything else. But now the team has to figure things out themselves. So improving communication in the sense of how do we go about these tasks, how do we go about working as a team, how do we manage our location financially, but also basically anything that can come up. And then also the communication between a team and a team coach. If the person is there, like how do you communicate with the team coach? Building a foundation of trust with the team coach is also essential, because otherwise, not much will be shared, or the things that frustrate people are like less likely to be shared and can become this big the elephant in the room, or shark, as also sometimes mentioned, which can just be a very negative aspect on the team, as well as improving communication with the team manager. In this case, there was a team which did talk to the manager like once a month, but they would actually like to talk to the person once a week to have this person help them through the process, as they were struggling quite a bit. And because they didn't communicate that, they also didn't get the help that they needed. And therefore, there was some tension and frustration between the team and the team manager, even though the team manager didn't know what was up, actually, like what was wrong or what was bothering them. He was more like, oh, why is this team not working the way I want them to work, or they should, like, why are they not progressing as much? So in that sense, communication is once the team has a team coach and a team manager and wanting to transition, communication is key. So there we go to our second question as well, which Sirian will,
I have unmuted myself as a really experienced facilitator. Happens to everybody when you try to mute yourself and unmute. But the second question is actually to discuss practices which you have been using within your Scrum teams, and see what kind of practices you used to improve communication. And please share those with each other, and also what the outcome was. And again, we will be back in 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and we will share some of the practices. And these practices are real cool, because if we put them in the chat later on, you will get the chat transcript as well. And if there are any practices you don't know, you can look it up and have it as well. Anambang.
Sorry, is it communication from member of the team to member of the team, or interconnection between teams and teams?
Can be both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah, can be both. So it's basically communication, which in regard to the Scrum team.
Cool.
Okay. So I have recreated automatically. If you're in with the same person again, I'm sorry, it's not me, it's Zoom. All right. Okay. We'll see you in a few minutes. Great. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you so much for the items in the chat. And Bob, may I ask you if you want to share some of the practices that you discussed in your group?
Yeah, sure. Like, I think several of us were from a Scrum background, so like within the first 5 seconds, I think one of us mentioned a daily stand-up. But that goes down to the practice of regularly making sure you see each other and have a status update whatsoever. That can be a daily Scrum, can be something else, depends on the way you work. So that was one thing. The other thing is co-locating people. So whether that's your customer, your product owner, or just having the team together, that really helps. And the third thing we mentioned is getting people to know each other and trust each other, build trust. So just having a bit of fun together can really make a big difference.
Wow, I think this kind of wows me, because while we are talking about practice, you're not talking about several techniques or whatever. So these are just the basics, like, okay, we have the Scrum framework in place, and how is it designed to have good collaboration and good communication with each other? Yeah, obviously, if you discuss the progress towards your sprint goal on a daily basis, or collaborate with the customers or whatever. So thank you very much for sharing that, Bob and the group. And I also see a few lovely things coming by in the chat. Thanks, thank you for that. Tieko, can you take us to the third step?
Yes. Oh. Yes. The third step is creating goals towards the vision. So for the teams, the vision was also not really clear, but they knew that they needed to become self-managing. But for them, it wasn't clear how they would become self-managing. Like, what do they need to do? When are they actually a self-managing team? That was also not really clear. So within the team, with the team manager, and if possible, also with the team coach, I advise to create goals. So first, think about, okay, where are we going to? And then, okay, maybe in like smaller steps, even like, or have creating milestones. How do we actually get to our goals? So we could use like SMART goals, which can help make it also clear, because you can make sure it's within a certain time frame. But for this team, they practice this. They try to do this with the team coach. Yeah, with a team coach and a team manager, and they saw that it could actually help, because it made things more clear. What do we need to do? And it also became less overwhelming, because becoming self-managing wasn't like this big scary thing that they needed to go towards, but it was actually, there were actually tangible steps into how they would get there. So we go through our third question.
Just before we go, I have one small question.
Yes.
Because in your paper, which by the way you will receive after this with these steps, in your paper you're also talking about how having a goal and a vision enables ownership within the team. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
Yes. So once a team, generally speaking, once a team has a goal and a clear vision, it makes it more tangible, as I mentioned before. So it's creates this feeling of, okay, now we as a team have to carry this, and we have to work towards this vision. Okay, this is the first goal that we're working towards, and this goal could be like time bound. So let's say in 3 weeks we need to be able to make, or like maybe like in an example, let's say in 1 month we need to be able as a team to make our own schedules, like who does what and when do we switch roles or whatsoever. So in that sense, the team members create this sense of ownership, like, okay, I'm part of this team and I want to get to this goal with my team members, and this is what I can contribute to it. So it's, I think once you have this goal, it like kind of generates something inside of someone. It's like, okay, we're working towards this. This is what we're running towards.
Cool, thanks.
Oh yes, the question.
Well, let's get to the question.
Yeah.
The question that we came up with together is basically, if you listen to what Tieko is mentioning about having a goal and a vision, I want you to think about how this relates to product goal and sprint goal within Scrum. Yeah, and share your thoughts with each other. I will, for now, make groups of 4 to 5, and I'll give you 6 minutes and 10 seconds warning. Is that okay? Yeah. All right.
Yep, that's great.
See you.
And time box. It's just a pity. We just started talking about Jira portfolio planning.
Oh, man. Oh. All right. I'm convinced.
You can continue with that here.
Yeah. I will set
It
you.
was getting interesting.
I will set you back in breakout rooms and give you 20 minutes to talk about Jira. All right. No, but all jokes aside, Jira portfolio management is awesome. But I'm always happy that if I see laughing faces coming back from breakout rooms, usually in face-to-face, you know what's happening, and now Michael and I were hoping, like, okay, I hope they're enjoying themselves for 6 minutes. You're coming back smiling. That's good. All right. Is there anyone who wants to share the main topics in this?
Just a quick question. There's someone in a room where other people are talking that are not in the meeting. Can they please? Yeah, thank you. That helps. Okay, Jian, back to you.
Yeah, so who wants
So rude, just because I'm in an office.
Right. Is there anyone who wants to share the outcome of your group's discussion? This is nice, right? I was changing facilitation styles.
It's not working.
It's not, well,
No, it can work.
Are you
It's
doing some
just-
A/B testing?
Yes.
I'm doing A/B testing because in the next one I will not ask anything.
We talked about this here, Jan, but you're just not embracing the awkward silence.
Well,
No, okay, let me kick it off. Things I heard in my group were it's all about alignment. And basically, just before we started talking about Jira portfolio planning, we were still talking about alignment and how goals enable self-management by making clear the direction and the stuff you want to impact, but leaving the way to achieve that to the team. And something about alignment between personal goals and team goals, and that they don't have to be 100% aligned, but you should at least be clear about what is and what is not aligned and how you deal with that as a team. Something like that.
Can I just ask the question? When we joined our team, we read the question out loud again, and we said, how does this relate to product goal and sprint goal? And then we directly started talking about product goal and sprint goal. And then we were like, okay, what about it? And then we said, what does this mean? Does this mean communication? We're like, okay, assuming it's communication, now let's talk about product and sprint. And then we discussed how even if you communicate every day about what you do in your morning meeting and people don't listen to you, especially like your product owner and managers or team leads, you would slowly, like Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs, end up in a different avenue completely. And then when you come to your playback session of what was expected in the sprint goal and you miss the boat, then the participants in the team would, like in my case, like me, I missed the boat on what's supposed to be delivered in the sprint goal, because I was saying what I was doing every day, but then they didn't come back to me and say, oh, but not this way, change it and fix it tomorrow to go this way. And then I ended up going left when I'm supposed to go right. So that was the part that my experience was about how the communication, I'd communicate one way, but the listening wasn't reciprocated.
Yeah, and I think you also mentioned how important it is that you do have a sprint goal, that you do have a goal, because otherwise, in those daily scrums, what are you talking about if you don't have a goal to talk about? Like, are you reading your agenda, or are you sharing your holiday plans?
Yeah, what I wanted to ask is, in my team specifically, we talk to the sprint goal every day, but we don't really have the vision of the product goal. When is that supposed to come out?
Yeah.
Or how, like, is there supposed to be like a planning session that the team gets involved in, that gets discussed about, this is where we're going and this is how you break it out?
That's a nice question for the rest. When in Scrum is a good moment to talk about product goals?
Every sprint planning.
Yeah.
Every single day if relevant.
Yeah, if relevant, sprint planning.
Sprint review.
Sprint review. Yeah. Even in refinement session.
Sprint review.
Yeah.
Sprint review always. Yeah. So we have a lot of opportunities to talk about the product goal and how it relates to reaching our sprint goal, or at least delivering value. So that's a nice thing. Does that answer your question, Muki? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely does. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Okay, Tieko, can you take us to the next 2 steps?
Yes. So step 4 would be to set responsibilities. So in this case, it was a responsibility. What is the team responsible for? What is the team coach responsible for? And what is the team manager responsible for? Because in this case, there was a team, and they needed to set a budget for the month, or at least for the year. And they were looking at it. It's like, and they were discussing, okay, do we're not able to figure this out. Do we go to the team coach to help us in the progress, or to go to the team manager because it's a task? It wasn't clear how who was responsible for what, like who they should go to in that sense. And also the team coach once in an interview mentioned, yes, I got an email, received an email, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to discuss this with the team or if the manager needs to discuss this with the team. So it was quite some unclarity in who was supposed to do what in the early stage of transitioning to self-managing teams. So that was a bit another obstacle, let's say, because in the team, like initially, generally speaking, in a team, self-managing team, a team manager is more responsible for guarding the boundary between, like in this case, the management team and the other teams, or the working teams, let's say. So, okay, what is the team doing? Make sure that they're doing the team task and that the management is doing the management task, and that the team is not doing too much and the management team is just dropping more responsibilities or tasks to the team. So in that sense, the team manager manages that boundary a bit. And the team coach is more responsible for the team performance. So making sure that the team members are still engaged, that they're performing well, that they're getting better in their task. It also in communicating within a team, and that the team as a whole is also able to move on to the next phase, to become more task relevant, mature regarding their work. And while the team just they're responsible for their tasks, so more the in this case it was also like managing the location. So they had a building, so making sure it was financially healthy, the building, so getting enough clients in, but also like managing the expenses, but also helping the clients, like how many hours does the client request, and making sure that these are met and not to over deliver or under deliver to their expectations. So that was step 4, setting responsibilities. And you could actually put between these two words, set clear responsibilities as well, because it's very important for everyone to know what they need to do for everything to go smoothly, because otherwise if there's confusion in these responsibilities, it quickly becomes messy in working. So going on to the next step, I recommended to create a team barometer. As you can see here, it's a lot of information, but as you can see here, the team barometer kind of creates a sense of direction and keeps track of the team progress. So you could see this as a sprint retrospective, for example, where the team sits down maybe monthly. Depends on the team, what the team is doing and how they perform, but in this case, it would be monthly to sit down and check, okay, where are we on these different axes? So you could look at like how are we performing, at what level are we, and in our organization, how are we performing, how are we doing this, how are we working together as a team, but also how are we working together with our team manager and with our team coach as well, and how are we managing our external can't remember, but like the clients outside of the organization. And yeah, how are we working towards our mission and vision, and like all these things are things that they should sit down and discuss. And if, as you can see, it's quite small, but as you can see, it's all it's spread out in 4 steps. So this also is based on the 4 phases that you saw in the beginning. So phase 1, like the professional maturity, so more like separating like the rules, like who does what, and then am I comfortable in my role, then am I able to perform my task, and are we able to perform our task within our goal, like individually without too much help of our team manager. And the last phase is like, are we autonomous in that sense? Are we able to do this as a team as a whole, by ourselves, with some help sometimes from the team coach, and some support from or some support from the team coach and some help from the team manager. Going on to the next question. Yes. Or maybe someone has questions, is also you're also able to ask questions if you have any.
Right. See some people saying no. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make it a little more personal, because we've been in groups of 3, 4, 5. Now we're going in pairs. So in pairs, I want you to share an example of how implementing a team barometer improved your Scrum team, if you have any experience. And it can be that you haven't used within a Scrum team. Feel free to discuss if it was in a different team. So share your experience about implementing a team barometer. And we have 5 minutes for that. Right? Right. See you. Okay. Yeah, so you were just in a breakout and sharing your experience about implementing team barometer. I hope you have some insight on that. As part of our experiment, I will not ask anything. I hear thumbs up. So let's go to the final 2 steps.
So for step 6, the advice was to clarify rules, and by clarifying the rules was mainly within the team itself, and because the team was first more like task oriented, so more or client oriented, working with the clients, but now they also got some organizational tasks. So which team member was responsible for what role and for how long, and what do you exactly do? And for this, there was also a manual, which, like for example, one team didn't know of the manual, like which describes each role and the tasks that come with it and how to perform them, what forms you need, etc. But they did not. It was not really clear to them how to use the manual, or was a bit vague of which role was what and all these things. So that needed to be clarified by the management team, so that the team in the end could also refer to it and be encouraged to look into it by the team coach as well, and in becoming more autonomous and growing towards the task relevant maturity. So that was one of the, I think, yeah, also very important advices to work on, for them to to understand what they are doing within the team, and also what other team members were doing, so they could like basically build on each other and refer to one another if needed. And within this team particularly, the team roles would also change like in different periods. So then it was the task of one of the team members to teach another team member, the fellow team member, how to perform this role and what tasks come with it, etc. So that needed to be clarified, so for them to perform well. And to the last one that I gave, which was more a bonus, this came from the discussions or interview that I did with the team manager, but also the director of the company, as they often did, everyone did their own task, and there were different departments. There's only the teams that were working with the clients directly, even though the whole organization is working towards one goal, which is actually helping the clients in the most effective way. Only the teams did see the good things, or that they were coming from their work, like the fruits of their labor. So therefore, to create a good reports channel on their internal site, so they can, for each team member from which department whatsoever, to share, okay, this is one good thing that happens today, this week, this month, or this. There is anonymously, of course, share about one client who was able to do this because of this, something that the organization did. So the whole organization would know what is happening on the bottom level, let's say. And it creates some kind of unity as well, because one team sees what another team is doing, and it kind of build bridges between the different departments. It's not just everyone on their own doing things individually. So this was one of the things that they appreciated a lot, and wanted to implement immediately, because there was a lot of frustration coming from not knowing what was actually happening. So it was a very beneficial implementation of this.
Tieko, one question came in the chat from
oh yes,
and that was, what's the difference between step 4, setting responsibility, and step 6, clarifying roles?
Good question. Understand your question. The step 4 was more okay, maybe we can go back to step 4. It's more about the responsibilities out, like from the team, the team coach, and the team manager, because these 3 groups, or like the roles, were all new to the organization, because they haven't worked in this type of management before. So the team manager needed to know what their responsibility was in this new self-managing organization, as well as the team coach, as well as the team. And then step 6, clarifying roles. Roles was more directed to the team within the team itself. So what are the rules that this new team, this new autonomous team, is supposed to carry, and how do they carry this out? So, and therefore it's also, like I mentioned, that the team manager and team coach become support the team to become task relevant mature. It's just more that the team manager and team coach in this case, they just help the individual team members or the team as a whole to become task relevant mature within their personal role, if that answers your question. Okay, I don't have the chat open, so yeah, great. Yes, so that was okay. Okay, then going back to the table we all saw in the beginning, it's the four phases of self-managing teams. As you can see, it's split up in four, and these steps that I just mentioned are more like I don't know if you can see my mouse, but it's like more here in the beginning, because for the team to actually become to go through these phases, or even go from phase 1 to phase 2, etc., this foundation of these 6-7 steps need to be laid first before they can actually move on to the next level. Because like if you don't have a clear goal, you don't really know what you're working towards, you don't have the vision is there, but you don't know how to get there, there's not a way necessarily to move forward, as well as if the roles are not clarified or the responsibilities. So these are all like building blocks for teams to get to being a bundling of individuals working towards professional task relevant maturity, and so on. And in the end, the goal is, of course, to become this open team in phase 4. Therefore, a disclaimer, in my research, I found that only like 4% of autonomous teams self-managing teams in the Netherlands become autonomous. So I hope one of your teams is up there, but it's quite hard to get there also because teams switch, like team members switch sometimes, and then you have to go partially or fully back to maybe phase 2 from phase 3 or whatsoever. So there's hope, but not too much.
Okay. There is hope, and there's work for us to do.
Yeah, there will always be work to do, for sure.
I see people laughing. Woohoo! We have job security. That's awesome. Yeah. So this takes us to the final part, and the final part is just to take you, because Tieko has been bombarding us with information, which is really relevant. But just think about, just for yourself, what is your key takeaway to never forget based on this story? And if you want, put it in chat as well. Feel free to share. But just take one minute for yourself in silence to think about what is your key takeaway to never forget. All right. See some very, very nice nice takeaways to never forget in the chat. So thank you all for that. And Tieko, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And if we want, how can we contact you?
Yes, I have a slide for that.
That we haven't.
You could or reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm not a very social media kind of person, but I will see it and respond. Not super fast, but I will respond. And you can always email me. I do see my emails a bit faster. Yeah, but I think, yeah, I just want to thank you all. I don't know if this is the end, but thank you all for participating, most of all, but also being here and working in these new lean management kind of way. I think it's for me, I first didn't know much about self-management before I started to research, but now that I know something about it or quite some about it, I'm like, wow, everyone should work like this. It seems like a great way for everyone to just come together, and it's not only like being task oriented always, but also to be people focused, because we're not machines. That's what's yeah, my key takeaway, I think. But yeah, indeed.
Right. Awesome.
One extra question. I have some preliminary knowledge because I'm of course within Scrum facilitators, but I know you've also made a presentation and a paper about this. Are you willing to share it with the Scrum facilitators community? Can we spread it, or do you want to still keep that for yourself for now, for whatever reason?
No, it's open. I think especially the step-by-steps that I just shared. I could also share my paper, but then I first need to like change some things or take some things out, because it's quite a personal document for the organization. So yes. I can edit it, and if anyone's interested, I'll send it to Zerion, and then Zerion can spread it with whoever whoever wants it. Or you can always like reach out to me. That's also fine.
Yeah. If it's a small effort, I would really like it to be spreadable. So, but if it's a lot of effort, I totally understand that you're if you prioritize differently.
No, I can do it. It's fine. Like if it helps anyone, I would love to share it.
Yeah, I would find it valuable, and I have some people that couldn't attend here who would find it valuable too, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
I think it would be especially valuable for all the people who don't work in IT environments, so they can also hear what are the next steps. So there's much more than Scrum, right?
True, yeah.
It's funny you mentioning that, because just today I posted on LinkedIn, how would a high-performing team be called if we didn't know Scrum? Because eventually delivering value and being close to the customers, and that's what Tieko is mentioning as well, is not bound to Scrum. Of course, it helps us, but eventually there are a lot of other teams who have never heard of Scrum, and they are still performing. So it's not only from now. So again, thank you all very much. I will share my screen just in case you missed it. Feel free to join the Scrum Facilitators community as well, or one of our courses. Some of them will be hosted by me, some of them by Sjoerd, some of them by Sjoerd and me. So a lot of fun to do, and then at least you know who we can blame during the courses. So that's very nice. Again, thank you all very much, and hope to see you in the next meetup, which will be, I will show it, on the 9th of September. It's a Truth Curve Applies. It's a half-hour webinar during lunch. That's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And these webinars are especially fun because there's a relatively low interaction. There won't be breakout rooms, but it's always some practical examples that of recent applications. So it's always good to hear war stories and ask questions about this application of this stuff. I can't be there myself, so I really wish you go. So it's useful for a lot of people.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for organizing.
Cheers. Thanks
a lot.